And welcome everyone to another edition of the Church Solutions podcast. My name is Phil Thompson.
And I'm Steve Lacy.
And we got a third guy with us again. What's his name?
Michael Gray. How are you guys?
We're good with you. Thanks, Michael, for being with us again. Michael we had Mike last week on our Church Solutions podcast. He's part of our team here. We go back a long ways. He's got extensive experience in everything under the sun, including streaming video and those kind of things. So good to have Mike with us again. And
Sure.
look, again, we continue to move on here through COVID-19. And one of the things that we're going to talk about today is some tips on how you and I can record video at home. And the reason we're bringing this up is because obviously with quarantine going on and people being at home, ministries, pastors, people involved in leadership are realizing the need to connect with people more than just Sunday morning on a video or a streaming video. So what we're specifically going to talk about today would be how to record some video from your home and how to make it look fairly decent. And we're talking more, like some churches are realizing, hey, we can connect with our people with a Wednesday night devotional or even pre-record things and send things out and do it 2 or 3 times a week. Some devotionals, some meditations, those kind of things. And of course, you can do that with audio as well as video.
Through Facebook, Instagram. That's what we're thinking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Or you could upload it if you happen to work with us, streamingchurch.tv or probably another provider. You could upload some video and make it available on your media vault. So there's lots of different ways to do that. So, what we have been seeing, all of us here have seen, and we all probably are guilty of it, is, people, they're doing their videos and yet, you're getting a good shot of their nose hair.
Yeah.
And or a good shot of their chin. And look, that's okay, but there's some really simple things we can do here to improve this and improve, even some lighting and improve some audio. And again, as we continue to beat the drum here, no pun intended, audio is one of the most important things when it comes to video. So let's just jump into this, guys. How's it sound with you?
Yeah, sounds great.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, good. So when it comes to setting up your video, you can video in all sorts of different ways, especially for these little maybe 3 or 4 minute clips or maybe a little longer. You can use the video on your phone if you wanted to. You could use something from your computer. You could use Zoom. You could even use Skype, which is what we're doing here. We do audio as well as video on Skype here. So the first thing I would suggest is try to find a quiet place to do it at, where you don't have a lot of noise, like Mike's dog barking or Steve's wife, lifting weights somewhere and all that stuff, right? So
we're going to test that this morning.
Yeah, we are. We all hear our
living on the edge.
If somebody comes to the door, you'll definitely hear my dogs.
Exactly. And I have a neighbor, the dog just seems like it gets, we got a wall between us, but, so it makes some noise. So our suggestion would be, try to find a quiet place. You could maybe do it outside if it's, not too bad. In fact, I did something outside the other day for my own church and you could hear some birds chirping and some kind of motorcycle drove by. But other than that, it was okay. So a quiet place to do it would be the first step. And audio is very important. Okay, so I don't want to just. I'm kind of rambling on here, guys. Some of you guys can drive this. We've got some notes here. So quiet place would be the first thing. What else should we do?
A quiet, well lit place. It kind of goes back to. Well, there was a story of someone that they were doing audio only, so they went into their closet and they went underneath a blanket because they needed to create a little great audio environment. And I don't know if you heard about this or not. It was a long time ago. They got locked in the closet and they couldn't get out. And so it's a great recording, because they do their little thing and then they're like, oh my gosh, I'm in here alone. No one knows I'm here. I can't get out.
I'm stuck. Help
me.
Let's
talk a little bit about lighting because lighting is important. And years ago, Steve and I have been doing this for a long time. Mike's been doing it a long time too. And so, you can do some creative things with lighting. I mean, I remember, Steve, you and I, we used to do our live streaming. We were ahead of our time, kind of our video podcast. We did them live at the coffee shop that we had at our church. And we finally decided to bring in one of my shop lamps that, I would use to work on my Jeep with. And we would set that thing up in front of us and we would have lighting.
It made a big difference too.
Yeah,
I mean, you couldn't see the shop light in the shot, but the effect of it was just dramatic.
It is.
And
it is. Lighting is so critical. I was thinking about that because I turned my light on as we were recording here because it's a simple light that shines on my face. Right. It lights me up and makes me the feature of the image to connect with people online. Right. Without it, I'm in a dark room. I'm kind of dark looking and I kind of fade into the video and you really don't see the effect until you turn that light off and then back on.
I see that. Yeah. Those of you watching on video. So again, you don't need a shop lamp that blows out, 5,000 watts. You can use a lamp. I mean, I've literally moved my lamp around here in my office a little bit. And I've even got a light, which I won't get into here, but I can actually change the colors on the light. I have one of those fancy internet lights. What do you call them? Wi-Fi lights. And I can literally adjust the mood in the room. And I generally do that for my prayer times, but I could do that here as well using an app on my phone. But again, the bottom line is adjust your lighting. And you want to look at it a little bit, maybe do a take or two, because you don't want it to fry you, but you want people to show up. So you might want to have to make some adjustments on moving the lamp around.
Don't make it so bright that you have to put on makeup.
Exactly.
Or my wife growing up, her dad was a big, 16 millimeter camera thing, and he put the floods out, and all the kids come out, and they're all like, they can't see. It's like they're staring at the sun, They're all squinting and covering their eyes and going, oh my gosh.
So just use some wisdom and just take a look at it. Shoot it for a minute or so and take a look at it and see. Okay, so what else? Let's move on here a little bit. So we talked a little bit about what did we talk about? That you're having a quiet place, having some lighting adjustments so that it looks good.
What about sound? So how important is sound?
Well, as we say here all the time, we beat this drum a lot, no pun intended, but audio is actually, in my opinion, more important than the video in the sense that you can have blurry video or video that's not this super ultra HD, but you can have all that, but if your audio is just muffled, those kind of things, people aren't going to stick around. So
no, they won't.
Get your audio as good as you can. There's lots of different things you can do. We have some microphones here that we're all using, but there's also lapel mics. You have to be careful where you put those so that it picks you up. But again, I would do multiple testing before you actually, do the video and send it out to whoever. Make sure people can hear you. And it's great if you can stick a lapel mic on and hide the cord under your shirt or something. But regardless, people just need to hear you. So even if it looks a little clunky, if they can hear you, they're not going to worry too much about this microphone stuck in your face or something.
And this is something kind of sets ministries apart, I think, because you think about the stuff you see on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. A lot of stuff you don't even need the audio to go figure out what's going on and stuff. But in ministry, you're a talking head or you're a worship band or audio takes on a super significant role that you won't see with just some of the social video. Cat video doesn't quite need the audio.
Usually not. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I can't tell you how disheartening it is to have nailed a presentation and gotten it as perfect as you probably ever will, and then go back and listen to it, and the audio is terrible. I mean, it's just like, oh, I nailed that. That was so good. I finally got it perfect. And then you go back and listen because you didn't test your audio equipment and it's garbled and you can't hear it, and you didn't realize that your AC was running and it overpowers, and all of the things that you really don't think if you haven't tested it in the location where you're going to record.
That's true. Yeah. Many times in the past here when we've done these Church Solution podcasts, I have a water fountain. Well, it's a fountain in my office here in the corner that I use because I like it. I like the sound of water. But for Steve Lacy, he when he's with us doing these podcasts, it really gets on his nerves. And I never notice it, but he could hear it in the background. And so I have conceded and I've unplugged the electric pump from it. And so now it doesn't sound so much like a urinal.
It makes me want to run to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I was going to say right? Bathroom break. Yeah.
But it's a background, so to your point, Michael, there's stuff going on in the background that we don't necessarily notice because we hear it all the time, maybe. But when you're recording something, those background noises will stand out and many times distract people. So, yeah. All right, good. Can I talk a little bit about if you're going to use your camera for like something to record something? Can I just address that real quick, guys?
Yeah, please do. That's a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah. So, I used to do this with you guys, your senior leader, Jeff Love. I would help him record. We'd record a little preview of things to come, for Sunday or whatever, or maybe a little bit of talking about what he talked about the Sunday before and what's going up next. So we found worked very well just to use a camera. I have an iPhone here, but what a lot of times people don't realize is they're just doing it vertically, shooting the video vertically. But really, ideally, if you can do it horizontally, that's the best way to do it.
Absolutely.
And so, unless you're trying to achieve something that's vertical, maybe on Instagram, I don't know, shoot it horizontally. And if you're able to have somebody hold the camera for you, that would be ideal. Or you could put the camera maybe on some type of a tripod, and that would be good as well. And just be careful of the audio because there are, again, little lapel mics that you can plug in. Depending on what mobile device you have, you could plug in something, or if you're just close enough to the camera, to the phone, the audio, if it's good, will pick it up.
All right. So let's, along those lines, going further along that line, you talked about how the pastor had sent a message out, and there's a couple of considerations there as well, too. You don't want to have I'm going to, email this, what's this next series going to be about, and have it run for 35 minutes. You're going to want to set these things to be nice, digestible communication pieces, right? So something less than 5 to 3 minutes or so for that type of format, depending on what the intent of your video is.
Yeah, I think so. Again, what people are realizing is sending out little snippets like that are just great ways to connect with people.
Right.
And so you could upload it to, if you have a Facebook page, you could upload the video there. You could upload it to YouTube. You could, even if you have, on-demand video like with us, you could upload it there and people could see it, on your media vault. Those things are certainly, we're talking short little things here. We're not talking about streaming an entire service. Although you could do that if you have certain things set up differently. Go ahead, Steve.
I was saying, Mike and I were talking before we started recording what we were seeing, over the weekend for entire services and some of the observations we saw there as well. We could probably talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Let me say one more thing about the actual doing the video, and that is this. And this is a pet peeve of mine. And look, I'm seeing this all over the place, even on newscasts and things like that. But many times people are shooting their video and you're getting great shots of their nose hair, good shots of their chin and those kind of things. And they're kind of looking up, it's angled at a certain way. I'm not going to do it here. Oh. But if you can get your eye level, if you can get like the upper 2/3 of the video, kind of like what all of us are here. If you're looking at this on video right now, most of us we're up here.
That's a key lesson learned, because most people, it's actually the other way around. The most common thing is for someone to hold the phone down at their chest and video their face.
Right.
And so it's the terrible angle for everybody. You just look terrible. So that's why, I'm making my camera, if it's going to be high and point down on me,
Yeah.
I look 10 pounds thinner and 10 years younger. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I first started doing video, I remember, I got on the stage and somebody commented later on some kind of a comment, Phil, you look like you've gained weight. And I said, well, the camera adds 10 pounds to you. And then the other person replied, well, how many cameras are on you? I mean, but it does. Video does.
Yeah.
Does.
You want to get the camera up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, up at eye level, I agree. And then the other piece being fill the frame. So as you can, if you are watching here, we're filling the frame. There isn't a bunch of space above our head.
Right.
That head space where you're got all of the wasted space there. Yeah. You lose a lot of the emotion in a person's face if you don't get a little bit tighter and you can see what they're saying and see what they're trying to communicate. It makes a huge difference when somebody watches that video.
Yeah, it does. And then even what's behind you. Right. If you're able to get a little creative, like Steve's got all his accolades behind him, all the awards he's won, and all the things he's done by building missiles, those kind of things. And then you've got some drapes behind you in a picture. Now yours is blurred. Your background is blurred a little bit, Mike, and Steve's is usually blurred a little bit, but it's not this time. There's a setting that you can have. Yeah, there's a setting you can use, and I've got it now too. Mine's not blurred though, is it? But it could be.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now something's changing. And so, again, getting back to, background would be good if you could have something in your background. It doesn't have to be fancy smancy, just something that would maybe, again, add a little bit of life to what you're doing. And again, there. All right. So let's just kind of quickly move on here, guys. Let's talk a little bit about clothing to wear, because we've seen this, guys, right? We've seen people, whether they're doing streaming video, Sunday mornings live or doing something even like we're doing here, your clothing shows up differently on video.
Yes. Yeah, you definitely shouldn't have anything with text on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that'll be a distraction. Or like plaid with green in it. Cameras react to color in some really unique ways, and you'll find that patterns often will really confuse a camera.
Right. Tight patterns primarily, right?
Yeah. Tighter patterns.
Yeah.
Solids are better.
I don't know.
If you can, and don't have writing on your shirt or jacket or whatever it may be. Keep it really simple and make it a color that, and again, you can turn your camera or your phone on, look at it, see how what you're wearing is reacting to the video.
Yeah, absolutely. Good deal. Yeah. All right. Okay. So anything else? I do want to talk about what to do with your content once you've recorded it. And we can, we still got a couple minutes here. So Steve, I know you're chomping at the bit to add some other things.
I was just going to talk about a lot of churches are doing church from home.
Right.
And I think we're seeing just some mistakes made with how they're doing the video, either at home or even at the sanctuary. There's, some are conducting the service from the sanctuary, but no one's there.
Right.
And there's just a lot of them are some of your typical mistakes. And Mike talked about one is that not being able to see your subject, zoom in, make the thing personal. We're seeing dropping in on some services that were it was a great shot of a beautiful building, but I don't want to watch the building for a whole church service. I want to see what's the message and what's going on. So just, being able to tighten your shot is really important.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And now with most of those worship centers, sanctuary or whatever you call yours being empty, it's an opportunity to move the camera way up
right,
and get closer to the speaker
Yeah.
so that you're getting a shot that really conveys a whole lot better when you put it online.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah, good deal. Good deal. All right. So, uh, when you record video and you're trying to get it somewhere else, there's some ways to do this. Like, for instance, I've got, and I've talked about this in the past, our church is, I'm literally piecing together different clips to make one message, one service, so to speak, online, online experience. So you can use Dropbox. You can, first of all, let me back up for a minute here. Uh, I would strongly consider lowering your resolution so that you're not sending large files. We do a thing called Simulated Live that we talked about last week. And honestly, if you can keep that thing under 2 gig, that just makes life easier for everybody to watch it and uploading it and all that stuff. So I would just encourage you when you're shooting your video, if you're able to lower your resolution, probably to 720. I know everybody wants to do 1080p. Let's do 1080p. And
No, I want to do 4K.
well, yeah, you can do that too, I guess. But
Yes.
yeah, I think especially during this COVID-19 deal here, if you can keep your file sizes, to a minimum, the bit rate, probably 1,000 kilobytes per second or so. And then you can upload that stuff you could use Google Drive. You could use Dropbox. There's some other solutions to that as well. Of course, if you have, an on-demand server, if you're with streamingchurch.tv, shameless plug. If you're with us, you can FTP it to your on-demand server and do other things with it. So that's very important, is once you get the content the way you want it and you've got the file size that's manageable, then you can upload it, because that's part of what I've run across some people having struggles. Like, what do I do? I can't do this, and so it's not hard, but there are some easy answers.
And just another plug that I'm a product that I use a lot, and that is, a lot of times you'll record this video and it's 40 gigabytes and I can't get it anywhere, and I can't. So re-encoding with an encoding tool, and I like Handbrake. It's free. It's been around forever. Runs on any platform, and it works really well. I've had really good experiences with it, and I think a lot of other people have as well. So if you've got a file that is too large and too unmanageable, you can re-encode it with some nice presets within Handbrake and get the file down to a nice manageable web viewable, because the web is completely different than, if I'm producing a movie, it's going to be a very different thing to get that movie into the theater, and different file sizes and different resolutions. But if it's going to be played back on the web or streamed, it's a completely different animal. So you want to make sure that video file is in a format and a size and a resolution that's suitable for consuming on the web.
Yeah, absolutely. H.264 or X.264, and then, obviously an M.MP4 wrapper. So, all right, good. All right, guys. Anything else before we wrap this baby up? All right, good deals.
We pulled it off, man. No barking dogs, no loud cars, no anything. Huh?
I'm going to turn my water fountain back on here. So again, we want to encourage you to take advantage of this COVID-19 time. I mean, it's a lot of negative things going out there, but the positive side is you can do some things right from your home or maybe from your office at church, and you can do some things that connect people to you. And you can even just do MP3 files. You can just do audio as well, and that's a whole nother subject. We've talked about those before. But again, using this time to reach out to people, maybe emailing them newsletters 2 or 3 times a week with a link to your file will really help connect people. I'm convinced that we can come back whenever we get back on the ground, so to speak, whenever that's going to be. We can come back stronger than ever as far as connecting with each other, which is always, I think, a challenge for many churches. We can do great Sunday morning experiences, but do we really connect well with people during the week? And so this can help. So there you go. All right, guys, thanks for your input.
Yeah, happy to do it.
Yeah, glad we were able to talk. We had a huge argument before we started recording here, but we managed to get through it.
Yeah.
It wasn't an argument. It was just good discussion.
We'll have to do a fight. It was like we
Well,
should have a cage match or something.
let's not.
Yeah.
No,
How do we
let's.
do that
I
remotely from
I
our
don't
own
know.
offices? It's
don't
like,
know.
I get
Maybe we come up with that. I don't know. Come
in
up
the
with a true.
eye or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, like the Three Stooges. All right, guys. Hey,
All right.
thanks. So Michael Gray's been with us, and Steve Lacy. And I'm Phil Thompson. Look, if we can help you with any of this stuff, we are more than willing to try to help you. Just send us an email, support@streamingchurch.tv. That's where you can find us. And we do this all the time. So we're here to help. That's part of our desire, our goal is to help churches use technology. So with that in mind, thank you so much for your time, the privilege of your time. We appreciate it. Take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, and we will see you again next time on another edition of the Church Solutions Podcast. Take care.